Hello, my name is Robbie Fitzwater. I'm the owner and operator of Marketing Rhythm. We help e-commerce businesses with retention marketing and email marketing. One of the questions we get asked all the time are about like, hey, how should I track my KPIs? How should I track my performance? What should I be looking for? What good looks like? And we wanted to dive into that topic for you guys now. So essentially, what are email KPIs? Basically KPIs or OKRs, depending on how your organization looks at it, are basically going to be how you're judging success of different aspects of your email marketing strategy or just your overall marketing strategy. There's many different types of insights you can get from them in terms of applying them and using them, but wanted to walk you through kind of how we look at them. I think our approach is a little bit different. And thinking through how you can use them in terms of framing the individual strategy you have as, again, the email creator, somebody in the weeds doing work, at a team level in terms of like leading teams, in terms of like making sure you're optimizing at a team level and strategy level, and also an organizational level of, hey, how is this actually connecting the dots between what we're doing in email on a daily basis and like what your C-suite and executives need to know and understand to see that this is actually working, or this is actually the stuff we're doing in email is actually benefiting the bottom line of the business. And so one of the things we try and do here is connect the dots between, hey, what are we doing on a daily basis in email, and how does that connect with how we're performing as an organization in terms of what we want to be doing and how we want to be growing. So we'll walk through kind of like all of that and maybe a little bit more. So this hopefully you'll get some good stuff that you can apply in different areas of email, and also just broad marketing, but we'll dive into it. What is a KPI for email marketing? In the e-commerce space, this is again typically you're going to see that like open rate, click-through rate, unsubscribe rate. Those are going to be kind of what a lot of people really think of when they think of like, hey, what are those KPIs? Like, what is a KPI? We like to go a little bit deeper in terms of like how we look at this. And we really like to understand like, hey, how well are we connecting dots between like business outcomes and the work we're doing in email? So we're pulling a lot of information around like, hey, like how much revenue did we drive from our automations? How much revenue did we drive from campaigns? How well did we grow our lists or grow specific lists? How much revenue are we make? What percentage of revenue are we making in terms of email as a percentage of e-commerce revenue? How well are our opens and clicks doing? How well is our click-through rate? If we have a specific action we want someone to take, how well is that performing? Like, how well are we get it? How well are we achieving like webinar signups? How well are we getting people to sign up for our VIP list or subscribe to a VIP list? So those specific outcomes, we're definitely measuring that. And all of these are going to be business dependent. And based on your business model, it's all going to be specific to your needs and use cases. So like B2B, maybe more webinar signups or more marketing qualified leads engaged. E-commerce may be more like, hey, direct transactions, like how well are we driving revenue through our win back automation, or how well are we driving revenue through our back in stock automation. Those are going to be a little bit more structured. And in the e-commerce space, we typically have the luxury of being able to connect those dots a little bit more definitively, because again, they're taking that action online and that sales cycle is a little bit more compressed. So it's not as long as like a typical B2B sales cycle, which could be months and years in length. So with a lot more complexity in terms of like sales teams. So this is a little bit easier for the e-commerce space. And also Shopify is great because they measure so much of this. It makes it really easy for everyone. So it makes our lives a lot more smooth. But for all of those, again, KPIs, this is how we kind of look to structure how we look at things for clients. And again, this is going to be slightly different for every client based on their needs, based on what they want, based on their audience hierarchy and like who are their most valuable customers. But also we really like this framework because it just helps in overall marketing strategy framework, to think about, hey, how are we aligning our marketing strategy, our email strategy with business objectives, and also how well are we engaging our individual team members to help them engage and use our KPIs as a way to know, hey, what I'm doing is working, I'm moving the ball forward, and I can connect the dots between what's happening at the organizational level, like what mission are we working towards, and what I'm doing on a daily basis, because again, that can seem disjointed at times. So this is the framework. It's 3 layers. So we start off with engagement-based metrics. Those are going to be metrics that are, again, more in the weeds. This is going to be more email-specific things like opens, clicks, other goals we may have, and then like unsubscribes. So this is going to be something a little bit more in the weeds that isn't necessarily as easily understandable to someone higher up in the organization. But as an email marketer, it really gives you directional insight into, hey, this is working, this is not. This is what we need to be focusing on more of. This is what we need to be focusing on a little bit less of. This campaign is performing because XYZ reason. How do we kind of balance like the performance of some campaigns and the performance of others? So that's where these engagement-based metrics really fit. And also because, again, they're a little bit more in the weeds, we're typically measuring this at an individual level. So like if I'm an individual, I'm the individual email marketer, this is something that I can be looking at in terms of like, hey, this is on my personal like dashboard, my personal KPI list, because again, that's helping me, but it's not necessarily going to be impacting other areas of my marketing team. But when I know that it's working, it's really helps me make directional and insightful decisions. The next layer up is going to be performance based. Again, we're going up that next level to a little bit more of a team level where, hey, this is probably some of our marketing team KPIs, but it really gets a little bit more robust here because we're measuring stuff like revenue from flows or automations. We're measuring revenue from campaigns or like maybe list growth. This would be a really easy place to also add subscription additions, like new subscribers added. If we offer subscriptions in our product offering. So like if I may have a replenishable product and I have subscriptions, this is where those like new subscribers are going to be. But you can see here, if I'm again engaging an audience, they're clicking, they're opening our emails, or engaging in our content, ideally they're going to be the ones that are eventually converting. So again, we want these emails at the engagement level, the campaigns and the other automations to be performing to drive what we want to see in terms of revenue. Like we've got to be seeing revenue or doesn't really, or like what are we going to do? Like open the clicks are not going to feed our families. So you need to be, again, generating some revenue there. And then what that's really doing is connecting at a larger organizational level. So like how well are we driving, again, revenue from repeat customers or revenue from new customers? So if at an organizational level, we want to be driving those goals, we have these value-based metrics that we can, again, directly tie that again, high level goal with the work we're doing here. So suddenly, hey, this is why opens and clicks are important because again, they're going to be connected to number of repeat customers or again, revenue from repeat customers. And it really allows, again, even individuals to to connect the dots between the work they're doing and the impact on the organization. But when we start to connect these with revenue-based goals here, it makes it a lot more powerful, a lot more grounded. So that's what gives this framework a lot of power in terms of, hey, how well are we looking at this from different levels? And also, how well does this information translate to others outside of our teams? So if I'm outside of a marketing team, I may not understand what open and clicks mean, but hey, if I know open and clicks help to drive repeat purchasers or revenue from new purchasers, then yeah, the accounting team suddenly sees like, oh yeah, that's super important. Keep doing that, keep doing that. Even though, again, it may seem a little bit warm and fuzzy, it's really important, really powerful. And also, if I'm the individual, if I'm knowing that, hey, I know what I need to be doing to, again, move these forward, I'm ideally going to be, again, wanting to, again, pull these levers to move these forward and also pulling these levers to move these forward. So again, if our organizational KPI or organizational OKR, depending on how you look at your measurement framework, if you're looking for an OKR, again, that's great, but these are all going to be directly correlated. And for individuals, like, hey, this makes it a lot more powerful. I understand what I'm doing and how it's impacting the bottom line of the business. I'm going to have a lot more ownership over it. And it's going to, again, help me understand how well I'm doing on a daily basis. So lots of different things to kind of like look at and kind of unpack, but this is the framework we like to use with our clients to really make sure that we're really pulling the levers we need to be pulling and impacting the revenue of the bottom line of the business the way we want to. So this is a framework that I've used leading marketing teams as at a whole team level. So if you have like 5 members of your team, everybody may have their individual engagement-based metrics that they're shooting for on a daily and weekly basis. The team has performance-based metrics that we're shooting for, and then also the organizational level, we're again having a North Star to look to. It's a really good way to kind of like break this down. I know this is a little bit like upstream from the like specific email KPIs, but it's just a good framework to kind of look at this within, and it's going to give you a lot of power to communicate the value of what you're doing in the long term. We also sometimes get, should I look at different KPIs for campaigns and for flows or automations? The answer to that, like any marketer, it depends. But basically, your expectations for both should be really different. So again, automations or flows, like the certain level of intent or the behavior you want to see is going to have different components. So you should have ideally a certain higher level of intent for your automations or flows because they're super contextual based on what somebody does or doesn't do. You want those to be a little bit higher performing. Also, they're going to be performing month over month. So campaigns are not going to be sending the same campaigns every single week, every single day, because again, that's kind of crazy. So those automations are going to be sending the same emails over and over and over. So you want to be looking at different things on those. So like how well their click-through rate is performing, how well their open rate is performing, how well their revenue, how well they're driving revenue. And you can again connect the dots and say, hey, version 1 is performing better than version 2. Version 1 is the one we need to go with. And ideally, you want to be moving the revenue per month forward for those automations, where campaigns are going to be a little bit different as, hey, I know those individual campaigns are going to be important. Like when I look at them, when I take a step back and look at them as a whole, I want to see them performing at a high level across the board. But some campaigns you have to take with a grain of salt, knowing, hey, this campaign is going to be driving less revenue than it, but it may be driving a high level of engagement. So if I need to be engaging my audience, so I can again earn the right to again ask for a sale, or ask for them to join a VIP list, or ask for them to take a specific action. That's where I need to understand, hey, at an individual level, some of these campaigns need to be like looked at a little bit differently. If it's a content campaign versus a promotion campaign, those are two different, almost separate things. But I want to be understanding, hey, what do I want out of this campaign? How do I want it to perform? If I want a specific action taken, what is that action? And then reverse engineering the behavior you want to see with how you're judging the performance of it. So it's really thinking about all of those things. And then ideally, you're bumping this up against a dashboard that you can be reporting on a monthly, quarterly basis that makes it really smooth and really seamless. And it's really fun because that's when everybody has a little bit more ownership over it. And suddenly, yeah, you know if you're winning or losing because suddenly your scoreboard will tell you, and you can connect these with like projections too, so it's even more powerful. Things to do to kind of improve your KPIs or best practices. This is again a little bit upstream, but make them visible. Make them visible and available to anybody in the organization. Again, understand, if the better you can help people understand like what you're doing and how you're measuring that, the better position that again you're going to be in as a marketing team or as a marketer, because again it's going to help you be more accountable in different areas. So individuals being accountable or teams being accountable for their performance, that's a really powerful way to kind of like make these improve, because somebody's going to take ownership of those. And if you're accountable, if what gets measured gets managed. So again, just measuring these in general and focusing on them and improving them is going to help them naturally improve. But also, you want to be consistently improving. This is a great information system. You're going to be learning and growing all the time. So do that. Take those insights you get and apply them directly into other, like what's worked, but continue to apply that. Understand, how do we move things forward and adjust things. Always be testing and improving those, because you can. This is a really great way to continually evolve your marketing. And then again, make it the scoreboard. If you can make this your scoreboard, it's going to help you understand what you're doing, how you're doing it well, and then if you're winning or losing. So it really helps to understand, if I'm taking this information, using it using it to take what I'm learning from, again, what's performed in the past. I'm taking this data from the if I was driving a car, I'm taking this data and using it from the rear view window and putting it in the windshield, so I can see exactly what it's doing and how it's hopefully going to help inform me on decisions moving forward. So KPIs as a whole, like, super important. And again, like I said before, like what gets measured gets managed. this is where you know that, hey, if I'm focusing on the right things, I'm going to be having the right outcomes. And that's ideally what you want to be doing. Because if you're not seeing the right outcomes, you're not going to have much justification to continue doing this. So this is where you should be continually improving, continually evolving. And this is an area, again, email marketing, everything's going to be easily measured. So you want to be taking those insights and applying them moving forward. If you guys have any questions or I missed anything completely, let me know. Always enjoy this stuff. And if you have, yeah, we always love talking shop. So comment below, ask any questions. This is our happy place. So this is Robbie Fitzwater with Marketing Rhythm, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.